When you fight the absolute laws of the universe to save one person, you aren't just breaking a rule, you're challenging the force keeping time moving. This is the apprentice, Mort. He is discovering that wielding the power of the scythe comes with a physical takeover. His human voice is replaced by a whip-like cracking tone, his heart is becoming leaden, and he stopped needing breath. The crisis began when Mort refused to let Princess Kelly die. By forcing a survival that the universe never intended, he created a paradox. Reality is now trying to correct itself by aggressively erasing the anomaly he created. 3 timers show Mort's paradox racing toward collapse. The first tracks Albert. After hiding from time for 2 millennia, he has exactly 91 days left. The second is a shrinking dome over Stowe Lot. Once closed, the princess's existence is permanently deleted. Mort is losing his grip on his own humanity. As he adopts the death persona to solve these problems, his body is becoming a vessel for a concept that has no room for mercy. If the apprentice succeeds in playing the role, the boy named Mort will cease to exist entirely. To reach the princess before the circle closes, Mort and Isabel ride the horse Binky. They are literally racing to stay ahead of the sunset, galloping across the sky at the speed of darkness. The contact zone is a wall of pearly mist. Inside, the princess remains real. Outside, she's a ghost no one remembers. The dome compresses toward the palace altar, and anything caught on the wrong side of that line is simply gone. Mort breaches the wall in the final seconds. He grabs the princess and the wizard just as the dome finishes its collapse, crushing the palace into a dark, empty void. With nowhere else to go, he takes the survivors back to his master's house, a realm that exists on the edge of the world, away from the normal flow of time. But the true master has returned. Death is waiting in his study, and he is incensed that Mort has broken the rules of the service to steal away a life that was supposed to end. They have run out of geography. They are now standing in the center of the cosmic library, surrounded by the very hourglasses that dictate when every life must stop. Mort draws his sword against the Reaper's scythe. It is a duel between a boy who refuses to accept a wrong fate and a being who has spent eternity ensuring that every ending happens exactly on schedule. The fight is destructive. Every time Death's blade misses Mort and hits a shelf, it shatters a random hourglass. In the world below, people who weren't even part of this story are suddenly dying in freak accidents. Mort is still trapped in a mortal body. He feels his muscles burning and his vision blurring from exhaustion. Death, meanwhile, moves with the same mechanical, tireless rhythm he uses to harvest a field of wheat. In a final, desperate surge of anger, Mort manages to strike the scythe's handle, snapping it in 2. He pins his master against a column, but the effort uses up the last of his strength. The Reaper doesn't even seem hurt. He simply reaches out and grabs Mort's personal hourglass from the shelf. He holds it up so Mort can see exactly how much life he has left. Mort watches. The last grain of sand slides down, hovers a fraction of a second at the neck, and falls into the bottom bulb. Mort's time is over. He falls to his knees, his energy gone, facing a being that never tires and never needs to rest. But then, something changes. Death looks at his daughter Isabel and back at the exhausted boy. Instead of delivering the final blow, he begins to laugh, a sound like a landslide in a graveyard. In an unprecedented act of mercy, Death reaches out and physically flips Mort's hourglass over. He gives the boy a new cycle of time, effectively rewriting the law he spent his life defending. We move to the wedding of Mort and Isabel. Even the Reaper is there, attempting to be a polite guest at the celebration of the life he chose not to take. He leaves a gift, Mort's own biography, but the ink trail that usually records a person's life has stopped. The pages are now blank, meaning Mort's future is no longer scripted. The second gift is this silver sphere. Death calls it a pearl of reality. When Mort saved the princess, he created an entire alternate history that the main universe couldn't absorb. To keep the world from breaking, Death compressed that entire extra timeline into this single orb. This sphere is more than a souvenir. It is a pocket of concentrated existence. Since this timeline of the surviving princess has no place in the current world, death has preserved it here, essentially giving Mort the seed of an entirely new universe to keep in his pocket.